Over the last 6 months, I have been doing manifestation to not only expand my mindset, which was key because we are in a new year 9, and the download I received around that had to do with an astrological combination of numerology and astrology. And some could believe this, some could not. But the simple concept of looking at something, 1 plus 1 equals 2, okay, makes sense. And what equated to was the 9 year cycle starting over. We have 9 planets. So each year, it just felt right to me. It lit me up. And so this new 9 year cycle, I'm running with it. And the first planet is Mercury, and that's the planet of communication. And to me, Mercury is the god or the channels which allow you to access higher consciousness. They allow you to communicate with higher self. And manifesting to me is more so about mindset than it's actually about the manifestation coming to fruition. Is it nice? I mean, you tell me. I feel like it's one of the greatest obsessions people have to date. But for me and my journey and who I am, I like to understand things. I like to know how things tick so that I can make them make sense for the highest number of people possible. Because growing up dyslexic, autistic, and ADHD, I lived in a world that was never suited for me. So I had to learn the rules of the world in which I grew up in, which most of us today have. Yes, hello. And then I had to deconstruct, find what worked for me, reconstruct it again. So it not only worked for me, but also was a compromise for the world that I grew up in. I believe in that wholeheartedly. That's just the person I am. I'm all about finding ways to include everyone, which increases harmony, in my personal opinion. Favorite analogy I like to use, the microbiome, especially of the gut. We are learning more and more about the inner workings of the body, especially when it comes to how it affects the mind. And the greatest amount of diversity within the bacteria within your intestinal lining or your gut actually increases your health, which to me increases your wealth, and also allows you to have more mental stability. So for me, playing off that thought and jumping off into another realm of composition when it comes to this video, because the main point I'm trying to instill in all of you is the fact that diversity is good. And this year, I'm focusing on the mind. But in order to support the mind, I've actually done many different things to enable greater communication for my soul, my body, and my mind, because I believe we are a combination of the mind, body, and spirit, the great trinity. But a lot of things in our world only support the mind. They cut off the body and they cut off the soul, or they're highly addicted to the soul and the mind. But the irony is your body is what connects the two. The cross, your body is a literal cross. Let's just think about it, ladies and gentlemen, or not, whatever floats your boat. But when it comes to the mind, body, spirit connection, what I have realized is diversity not only supports you in your health, but it will also support you in understanding what forms of communication best support you. Going back to being neurodivergent, I had to unlearn the ways of the world because they did not suit me, they hurt me, and they basically shamed me into thinking I was this broken person when in fact the system that we live in is pretty fucked and broken. It's broken in for sure. Let's just put it that way. But the thing that I love about being a neurodivergent in this world is the dexterity that I have to view the world and be open to change. Now, I have really instilled a practice of mind body awareness to allow the communication of the soul to come in. And on this journey of manifesting or mindset work, utilizing affirmations from an amazing woman named Florence Scovel Shinn, RIP. She came before us, and I believe she actually was a trendsetter for a lot of the men that you see in this space today. Neville Goddard being one of them. I could be wrong. I have not done my history lessons, but a lot of the stuff that I see in his books, I saw in hers. And I do believe she came before him. She was around 1915. I believe Neville Goddard was in the 40s. I could be wrong. I'm going to go do some research. I'm going to put it in the description below just so, we can all be on the same page. But I believe she, like many things in history, were inspired and rewired by women. So, not to say that men haven't played a part, but I do think women obviously have not been given a lot of the proper acknowledgement. And a lot of them have actually had to plagiarize as men to get any sort of stage to present their skills and gifts to the world. I am totally going on a tangent right now, but I was hearing the other day that someone stated that Shakespeare, we all know that he was basically a man who was not educated, could not have put that stuff together. And a lot of people thought he was someone by the name of Sir Francis Bacon. But I heard the other day that he was actually a she, and she was a black Jewish woman. Now, I don't know if that's true, but man, that sure tickled my fancy just a little bit, because I was like, ooh, that's like a double entendre on entendre on entendre. Entendres, entendres, entendres. In a way that just made my soul like, I don't know if that's right, but it just makes me smile. But anyways, backing it up to the mindset. So, diversity. If you go to my Mindset Magic playlist, or if you have actually taken the time to watch all those videos, you will see I have changed up my patterning and also my delivery with affirmations. And what I have found is on your journey, as you are changing, your affirmations are going to change with you. I was even prompted by my spirit teams and guides to start over because of the way in which I was delivering these affirmations. They were not grounded in faith, trust. They were still embodying fear. And I'm a big believer of you are better off starting something and then going back and fixing it, because you're never going to learn if you never start. So I had some really good results actually. But I remember I found this flow of not only creating, but what really lit up my soul and what really supported me in receiving the verbiage. Because in the beginning, I was very fearful of doing it wrong. But the reality is, you can't do this wrong. You can only figure out what doesn't work for you and what does. And that's pretty much every single freaking human's experience in this world. You find what works for you and what doesn't. And there's a handful of people where this society and the rules they have, it works for them. Can everyone else say that? No. And that's where I start to, question things. That's just where my mind goes. But when it comes to manifestation, it's not about proving one side's right or wrong. It's about getting curious as to, well, why isn't this hitting? Is it the words? Is it this delivery? Is it how I am implementing it into my routines? You really have to ask yourself that. And looking back on these 6 months, I realize that there's different times and seasons. So during spring, you might have a different routine than summer, then winter, then fall. I know I screwed those up right in there, but whatever. I go by traditional Chinese medicine, so I go by 5 seasons. And if I look back on it, that might actually track. Interesting. It's fun to note how diverse you are and how much your body craves and desires new experiences. So if you're doing something repetitive that does that, that gets old, you're not expanding your neuroplasticity. And to be fair, that might be coming from a wounded place where I get bored easily. I need to have that, you know, dopamine fix of, ooh, something new, something, vibrant and shiny. But I've done enough nervous system regulation where I do want consistency, and I'll do something consistent until my spirit guides are like, hey, yo, this doesn't work anymore. Hey, yo, we want you to try something different because we think this will benefit you. And it aligns with the verbiage that I'm using, because the more I'm doing this, the more I'm trusting. And I believe for myself at this point in time that I have finally found my flow. I like the execution. I like the creation. I like how I connect with the words. I like how the words are flowing. I have this deep sense of trust. I have this deep sense of ease. And it wasn't like that in the beginning, but it took me a lot of trial and error. Trial and error before I even began this whole project. I did writings. I read different, you know, gurus in the sphere. I tried different styles. I bought different books. I tried different things, but the reality was until I calmed my nervous system via somatic release, which is the body, because my body was so dysregulated, it didn't matter what was going up in my mind until you calm the body. And I have done many different things to support my physical well-being. Number one thing is doing energy healing daily. I love my magnet pair therapy energy healing frequencies. You can check them out in my bio. They are the number one thing that has actually allowed me to get into my body, and that actually allows me to regulate, be present, and actually continue to evolve and not devolve, which I fucking love. And it really supports me. The second thing is understanding the need for supplements that will support my well-being and having a good nutritional diet as much as possible. I'm not a, purist when it comes to my eating. I do, have some candies and some snacks from time to time. I do love my sugars, I'm not going to lie. But that's when I understand that, okay, I need to take supplements that will support my microbiome. I need to do a parasite cleanse at least once a year. I need to do X, Y, and Z. I'm very aware that I need to do stuff internally as well as externally. And that to me is sleep, exercise, rest and recovery, having fun with those that I love, getting out in nature, doing art projects and being creative. There's so many different things that support the mindset, but this practice allows me to know when I'm hitting a wall and if that wall's a boundary or a barrier, because a barrier is ego that is walling off a part of you that is scared to be seen. That's when I do the energy healing work, break down those walls, and then I help to regulate and I get into a flow of just manifesting the life that I want. But if you want to manifest the life that you want, you're going to have to make changes along the way. And that's where I'm so okay with diversity, because as you change, what's worked for you at the beginning probably won't work for you at the end. Some of it might, but not all of it. But you have to be open to changing different things. You have to be okay with trying different things. And when it came to my affirmation work, I tried many different things. And I finally found what worked for me. I'm a girl who loves science. I love facts. And I love using verbiage that supports my upbringing, that I love, cherish. I no longer shame or blame. And that's the Christian religion. And I love how Florence Scovel Shinn creates the essence and takes the Bible and makes it a metaphysical book that actually relates more to me and my concept of what Christ was really trying to convey. And so it was very healing for me. It has supported me and really feeling safe, grounded, protected, and has allowed a lot of doorways to open up for me. Now, if you didn't grow up as a Christian, this might not resonate with you. And that's why I wanted to make this video. I want to inspire you to try out different things that light you up. For some of you, you might have been born Christian. You want to try something that's Buddhist. Hey, go for it. Christ, I believe Christ consciousness is in every single aspect of life if you so choose to see it. And if God is calling you to experience it, then I say go for it. Now there's a level of discernment because trust me, there are things out there that will plagiarize itself as the Christ consciousness, and it is not. Don't be blaming your actions on your lack of accountability. That's a whole nother topic, and we're not going there right now. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. But what I do want to say is you could also be someone who grew up Christian and you want to stay with Christian texts. You could be someone who is Christian, and I'm using Christian example because I was Christian. I was a Christian. I studied a bunch of other things, and I've come back around to the Bible. For me, it was a huge roundabout, a big boomerang experience, so I could better understand the book that I grew up in. I'm a Christian. I'm also an energy healer and a shaman, and I realized that in loving myself to my full capacity meant accepting that I was a Christian and that I was a shaman. I wasn't a demon. That was something that was a man-made construction that was not true, because God does not make, to me, he does not create someone in the eyes of man. He makes them in the eye of God. And I believe that in embracing myself, I now have the capacity to embrace and love others and bring that love and compassion through forgiveness, through grace, and through total conviction of loving and seeing God in everything. I love that. That's where I love to go with life. And that to me was what I wanted from this practice. I wanted that to instill a deeper level of inner knowing so that I could speak with a confidence that I never have before. And that was the diverse background of why I've done this practice. Diversity is the name of the game. So I want you to try different things until you find the stuff that makes you feel grounded. It makes you feel safe. I want you to have body practices that support the somatic encounters that you will come up against, because when you are working with the mind, there's a disconnect between mind and spirit. And this, specifically using Florence Scovel-Shinn, because she touches on the metaphysical and the Christ consciousness, she's touching on the spiritual realm with her words. And if your ego has created blockages within your body, you're going to feel them, just so the mind doesn't have to either take ownership, it doesn't have to change, and it doesn't want to die. It doesn't want an ego death. Things don't want to die. I've had a few of those actually on this journey, and is it rough? Sure. But you know it's worse, in my opinion, staying stuck. Because if you're staying stuck, you're pretty much dying. If you're not moving, you're not living. And to me, that's a fate worse than death. I've always felt that. So I want to encourage you on this journey of not only just working with affirmations, but your wellness, your health. What inspires you to feel better? What has always lit you up? I want you to try things that not only encourage creativity, that encourage movement, that encourage dexterity. So stuff that expands your mind, something that's new. You don't have to be good at it. You just go out and do it. You try it. You know, experience life from a different perspective. And I'm not saying that having routines are bad. Quite the opposite. I'm talking about expanding yourself in a healthy way that is regulated, that it's within your bounds, and it's grounded in the inner knowing that it's what your soul wants. You're not doing it because the outside world tells you you need to do X, Y, and Z. No, you're doing it because your mind, body, and spirit are in alignment, and your body's like, hey, I want to go outside. I need to walk. I need air. I need fresh air. I want to start running. I want to start moving. I want to start grooving. Thank you for resting and sleeping and recovering. Now I'm ready to go out there and be active. That's what my body's been saying the last few weeks. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay. And I had to be still for a year and a half. That's a whole nother story. I ended up having a knee injury that forced me to sit still. But in that stillness, I created energy healing courses that have given me such a gift on how to actually navigate neurodivergency without medication. Because I have a high allergic reactions to medication. An example of this is my mom is allergic to penicillin. So that should tell you how sensitive I am. So I've had to navigate this world from a different lens, because I think it's a gift. I think had I been someone who could take medications, then I would have done it. And I feel like that would have smothered me. I think I was allergic so that I could step into my gifts as a shaman, so I could really meld my soul back into one. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think it's a beautiful gift to have. And I think there's a lot of gifts that are going to come out of this and bless not only me, but my family and others. Because I view the world as my family. Okay, so, that's a little diverse. It's a diverse way of thinking about family, but that's always been me. And I feel the world is my tribe. Always has been. It's been all consuming, all encompassing, but it's a wild ride. And it's how have felt ever since I was a little child. And I just could never explain it. And it's nice to be able to embody that much feeling, because when you're that connected to the world and people, it's very overstimulating. And when I didn't understand it, I actually tried to commit suicide when I was 14. I know you shouldn't say that word, but I definitely went through an intense phase. So I love that I have a gift and I have a way of verbalizing stuff that explains these gifts, that explains what neurodivergency is, and provides people an outlet to support them on their journey of self-acceptance. Because it's not about fixing a problem. There's nothing wrong with being neurodivergent. I actually believe it is a way of balancing out an imbalance in our world, because if we are extremely left brain, the world's naturally going to create a polar opposite, which is extreme right brain, which is neurodivergency in extreme cases. And I believe that is there to show people the emotions that are cut off, walled off, and doing this mind-body connection work through verbalization, you can see how much our mind and our society has taught us to wall off emotions, to act a certain way. And to me, it's almost like an internal cage. And so manifestation work isn't just about manifesting. It's about freedom to me. It's about learning how powerful you are, how powerful your words are. And it's also about taking ownership of your words. It's about when you take back that power, you also take on the role of being a steward of your body, being a steward of your mind, and being a steward of the spirit that flows through you. That can be pretty intense. And there's been a few other, things that have come up in the last few weeks that I'm going to share eventually. I didn't feel called to do it this week. I wanted to talk about diversity. Obviously, maybe have clocked that word maybe like 15, 20 times now. Diversity, 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 just in case I haven't hit 20, because I want to get there. But I want to really drive home that in this practice, there is no right way. There is only your way. That is it. And until you test things out, you'll never know. So try it on. Try different things. If your soul has always been curious, try it. I remember doing different workout classes and different styles of dancing because my body wanted to just experience it. Did I end up, going the long haul for all of them? No, it was an experience that served me for a season, and different styles of affirmation work, energy healing work, physical activity will serve you for a season. We are always changing, and the best thing and most powerful thing about this adventure of learning how to communicate with the mind, body, spirit is knowing when to change, when to listen, so it best serves you and supports you as you move through this body of life, which is amazing. And I'm going to leave you there because I am just feeling so overwhelmed with joy and I want to go sit with it. So I'm going to leave you right there with that. I hope you all have a fantastic week ahead, and we'll see you in the next video.